everybody. Today in this video on motion in a plane, we are going to discuss about a topic vector. We know that in one dimensional motion only two directions are possible. Means the physical quantities like position, velocity, acceleration can be taken either with a positive sign or negative sign, which represent they may have only two directions. But in the case of motion in two dimension or motion in plane, an object can have a large number of directions. So in order to deal with such situations, we need to introduce the concept of vector. So to understand the concept of vector, we will start with the difference between scalar quantity and vector quantities. Means physical quantities are mainly divided into two types of category. Number one, scalar quantities. So scalar quantities are those quantities which have only magnitude are called scalar quantities like distance, speed, time, mass, volume, work, electric current, etc. Now you will say that electric current has particular direction in the circuit. Why it is taken as scalar quantity? Because it has the direction, no doubt it has the direction, but it does not follow the laws of vector algebra. That is why it is kept in the category of scalar quantities. Second, vector quantities. Those physical quantities having magnitude, direction and obeying the laws of vector algebra are called vector quantities like displacement, velocity, acceleration, momentum, force, etc. All these quantities have magnitude as well as direction, and also they obey the laws of vector algebra. That is why they are called vector quantities. Now the importance of vector. Why we deal with the vectors? There are many importance of the vector in the physics. First one, many laws of physics can be expressed in compact form by the use of vector. Means by using vectors, the laws can be summarized into a compact form. So it is easy to learn for us. Second, the derivation involving many laws of physics can be simplified by the use of vectors. The laws of physics, when expressed in vector form, remains invariant for translation and rotation of coordinate system. Means laws of physics give the same result whether for translation coordinate system or rotational system. Representation of a vector means how we can differentiate between the scalar quantity and vector quantities. So vector quantity is represented by a straight line with an arrowhead over it. This arrowhead ended is called head and other end of the vector is called tail. And the length of the arrow represents the magnitude of that vector, while this arrowhead gives the direction of that vector. And we will consider the direction of the vector according to this following given diagram with red color: north, south, east, west. Types of vectors. There are many types of vectors in vector algebra. Number one, equal vectors. Two vectors A and B are said to be equal vectors when they have same magnitude and same direction. Number two, parallel vectors. Two vectors A and B are said to be parallel vectors when they are acting along the same direction and may be of same magnitude or of different magnitude. Next, anti-parallel vectors. Two vectors A and B are said to be anti-parallel vectors when they are acting in the opposite direction and may be of same magnitude and of different magnitude. Next, negative vectors. Two vectors A and B are said to be negative vectors when they have same magnitude but acting in opposite direction. Collinear vectors. Two vectors of same magnitude or maybe of different magnitude when acting along the same line, they are called collinear vectors. Next, coinitial vectors. When two vectors A and B are initiated from the same point O, they are called coinitial vectors. Then coplanar vectors. When the vectors lie in the same plane are called coplanar vectors. You can see there are three vectors, vector A, vector B, vector C, all lie in the same plane. So they are called coplanar vectors. And any two free vectors are always be coplanar vectors. Zero vectors. A vector having zero magnitude and arbitrary direction is known as zero vector. Arbitrary direction means not known to us. It may be anywhere. And it is represented by the vector symbol overhead the 0. Unit vectors. A vector when divided by its magnitude is called a unit vector. It is represented by a cap. And it can be formulated in the form of a cap is equal to vector A upon mod of vector A, where mod of vector A represents the magnitude of that given vector A. Orthogonal unit vectors. The unit vectors which are perpendicular to each other are called orthogonal unit vectors. From diagram you can see the vector I, unit vector I cap acting along x-axis, unit vector j cap acting along y-axis, and unit vector k cap acting along z-axis. So these all three vectors I cap, j cap, k cap are unit vector and also acting perpendicular to each other. Hence they are called orthogonal unit vectors. Position vector. The vectors which always start from the origin are called position vector. So from diagram you can see vector OA and vector OB both are starting from the origin O. Hence they are called position vector. And the distance between them means AB, that is called displacement vector. The displacement between two position vectors are called displacement vector. Addition of vectors. In this section we will see how two or three vectors can be added. There is first method called triangle law of vector addition. According to this law, if two vectors acting on a body simultaneously be represented by two sides of a triangle taken in order, then closing side of a triangle taken in opposite order gives resultant both in magnitude as well as in direction. As you can see from the diagram, the vector A and vector B is added in order, means the tail of vector B is added with the head of vector A, and to get the resultant of these two vectors, the tail of vector A joined with the head of vector B. This line will give the resultant of vector A and B represented by R. Hence now we can write the vector R is equal to vector A plus vector B. And finally we will get the shape of triangle. Hence it is called triangle law of vector addition. Second method, parallelogram law of vector addition. According to this law, if two vectors acting at a point are represented both in magnitude and direction by two adjacent sides of a parallelogram drawn from that point, then diagonal passing through that point represents the resultant of those two vectors in magnitude and direction. It means if we consider two vectors P and Q represented by OA and OC in the diagram, then to get the resultant of these two vectors, we just draw a parallelogram. To draw a parallelogram, we take the parallel line of the vector P, that would be CB, and another parallel line of vector Q, that would be AB. Hence, we get a parallelogram OABCO, and the diagonal of this parallelogram OB represent the resultant vector R of the vector P and Q. And this R can be calculated by the relation given by R is equal to square root of P square Q square plus 2PQ cos alpha, where alpha is the angle between vector P and Q. But if theta is the angle of resultant vector R with the vector P, then we can also calculate the direction of resultant vector, that is by the relation theta is equal to tan inverse Q sin alpha upon P plus Q cos alpha. It means if vector P, Q and angle between them are given in the question, then with the help of these two relations, we can calculate the resultant R of the vectors P and Q and the direction of the resultant vector. Third, polygon law of vector addition. This method is used to add the more than two vectors. According to this law, if a number of vectors acting at a point be represented both in magnitude and direction by the sides of a polygon taken in order, then the resultant is represented in magnitude and direction by closing side of a polygon taken in opposite order. If we take the example of these vectors, vector A, vector B, vector C and vector D, we are given these four vectors and we have to add all these vectors. So to add these vectors, first of all, we draw the vector A along OK direction. Now we add the tail of vector B with the head of vector A along the direction KL. After that, we will add the tail of vector C with the head of vector B along the LM direction. And finally, we add the tail of vector D with the head of vector C along NM direction. Now, if we draw the line from the from the tail of the vector A to the head of the vector B, means along OL, we will get the resultant of vector A and B. If we draw the line from the tail of the vector A to the head of the vector C along OM, we will get the resultant of vector A plus B and C, that will give you the resultant A plus B plus C. And now finally, if we draw the line from the tail of vector A to the head of vector N, that will give the resultant of all these four vectors A, B, C and D. Hence we will get vector R is equal to vector A plus vector B plus vector C plus vector D. Resolution of a vector. In this topic, we will see how a given vector can be resolved into its two rectangular components. From diagram, you can see the vector OR, which is the given vector and represented by A, can be resolved along x-axis and along y-axis, and it is represented by AX and AY respectively. Hence, AX is called its horizontal component and AY is called its vertical component. As AX and AY are the components of given vector A, hence we can say A is the resultant of the vector AX and AY. And now it can be represented by the equation vector A is equal to AX I cap plus AY j cap. It means it has the magnitude AX along x-axis and it has the magnitude AY along the y-axis. Now, if the resultant vector A make an angle theta with the x-axis, then we can establish the relation between AX and AY and also between AY and A by using the trigonometric function, and hence we will get ax is equal to a cos theta and ay is equal to a sin theta. By these relation, if we know the value of resultant vector and its direction, then we can calculate the magnitude of its horizontal component and vertical component. And now on solving these equations, we can also return the equation for resultant vector and its direction. Means capital A is equal to root of ax square plus ay square, and tan theta is equal to ay over ax, or theta is equal to tan inverse ay over ax. By this relation, if we know the magnitude of horizontal and vertical component of the given vector A, then we can calculate the magnitude of resultant vector as well as the direction of resultant vector. Thank you.